And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Brian, Brian, I'll tell you what, something hilarious. Man, on the last show that we recorded, it didn't come out. But she was like, yeah, man, I'm big fancy Bryan Broaddus. I spent a lot of money for my internet. And Voch, I'll tell you. And your ass went away. And you went away, Brian. And I say, damn, I know you. I still got the clip. It might come out. I know damn well Bryan Broaddus ain't just gonna brag on his very fancy, expensive internet. And as soon as you say, God don't like ugly. And as soon as you say it, your internet goes out, Bryan Broaddus. Good to have you back.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you. I apologize. And if you follow along on X and Twitter, I made an apology. And there's some people that told, oh, I listened to Brother Phil this morning as I was doing some work.
Phil go crazy.
But anyway, I was bragging. I was so proud. I had a new router,
oh, my internet.
I had all the new stuff. And that thing, as soon as I said it, that thing went interrupted. That message came across and you said, oh, what? And then I was trying to like reboot, and like, the 61-year-old man was trying to unplug and plug back in, but they came on Saturday and they hooked it all up. So hopefully no other problems. We got a lot of shows to do between here and training camp. I don't want to.
Bryan, let me see. I still got the clip.
No. You got the clip?
I still got the clip, Bryan. I don't want to do you bad, man. But I just
bad. Play it.
Some things, man, the people just got to see, Bryan. Let me just
go ahead.
Let me just let them in on what happened here. Here we go. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Brian's the reason why we weren't here. He was the reason why we're here. Look at you.
That would be the bus going over top. Okay, I admit it. I got 7 damn jobs, right?
For sure.
7 damn jobs.
Yeah, man.
I do pay for really, really good internet because I have 7 jobs. I find myself.
And that shit stopped. Oh, hell no. As soon as you say, Brian, as soon as you say you got good internet, you start crapping out. I'm leaving this in the video. Brian. Brian, you work 7 jobs. Wait a minute, damn it. I be damn. You said you work 7 jobs and your internet's so good. I be damn.
Oh, I knew you were going to get me with that one. I have to accept my fate. That was not good. I was bragging about all my jobs.
And don't say nothing about the internet now, because it'll just because now you're gonna freeze again. Don't say nothing else.
No, man. We're good. All right, what do we got to talk about today before we freeze? Corners. What do you got? Corners. What do you got? Reports, all kinds of things. I hadn't talked to you in a while. We got some stuff we could talk about.
So, man,
how about that,
man, Bryan Broaddus, we were just gonna go down the depth charts here and just kind of break down these units. Last show, how many shows that was?
I think it was four
shows ago. 4 days ago, we talked about wide receiver and the ins and outs of wide receiver, Brian. And boy, the injury bug is kind of hitting us. All of our guys kind of got bad knees. If you feel like we were healthy, we would have a really good group. But it depends on where Revel is. It depends on where Butler is. I mean, we all have friends in this league, Brian, that feel like if Diggs was healthy, he probably wouldn't have been a Cowboy. I don't know. But Jerry Jones came out and said, hey, man, if you work harder, next time maybe your knee wouldn't feel so bad. I don't know, Bryan Broaddus. It just this is a very interesting unit that we're going to break down tonight.
Yeah, I know it is. And I think the report on Diggs is you're going to start him on PUP. Okay. I think that's where we're going to go. I don't think there's anything we're going to no further in OTAs, mini camps, anything like that. I think he's going on PUP, and we'll see how it goes from there. I really could not get anybody with the Cowboys to give me a timetable other than the fact that he's going to go on PUP, and we'll see how it plays out, as we get to Oxnard and, he'll work with Britt Brown, the other trainers, Jim Maurer, that crew, and we'll see if in fact depending on how that goes, and but you're not going to have anything from him, and they really don't have a timetable until they actually get going and start working on it when he'll be available.
Bryan, do you think because they don't have a timetable that they really do have a timetable? The same thing with like trades and like, cuts and free agency and stuff like that. Like they'll give us something. They have something, but like if it's something super top secret, then maybe they'll just, not tell us nothing.
I don't think so. I think this is legitimate. I think that they are, Diggs is, he's got videos of him working with his own medical staff, which is cool. I'm not saying that's a fault, but the work that he does with Britt Brown, they just need to see, it's really up to the stuff that Jerry talked about. Is he willing to put in the time and effort to get the knee right? There was some time, and again, this is not me making up stuff. This is the owner general manager. He's saying that let's hope that the rehab goes better. There were whispers that we had last year when you and I were starting our show here that, that he wasn't working and everybody's like, oh, look at this. Oh, you're full of us. I'm like, okay, and he got serious right before it started to become training camp, and it just didn't allow him enough time. And some others had really, like the Overshones and, our tight end and, guys like that had really, they'd really put the hammer down and worked hard on their, on their rehab, and, that Diggs hadn't. And so I think I'm not going to say they're in the same shape, but that's why they don't know, because when they worked with him, they thought, well, this is how long it should take. And it took a little bit longer. So that's why I think that we're getting the word from people in the organization is that he needs to continue on the path of working harder. And then if he gets there and works hard, then they'll have an idea when that date will be.
I wonder what Britt Brown thinks about the Cowboys' training staff and their reputation of getting guys ready to play.
Yeah.
And if you just follow the program, you'll be all right. I wonder what Britt Brown thinks about guys that kind of veer away from the program.
Yeah. I don't think anybody's, it's something that with these professional athletes, you have to respect. I remember being in Philadelphia and working with the Eagles, and there were a lot of people that we get second opinions on these knees. Maybe the team doctor, and I'm not just saying it was because of the Eagles, it's because I was in a position where I got to meet with doctors a lot, just, talking about with players and stuff. And so it was, well, when's the surgery going to be, Doc? Well, surgery's not, Dr. Andrews is going to do it in Birmingham. I'm like, so he's not going to have the surgery done in Philadelphia? Right. No, he's going to Andrews, or he's going to McKenzie in Green Bay, or he's going to Cooper in Dallas. That is more accepting now than it was 20 years ago. But there's a lot of respect. I mean, these, as long as the player's willing to work and work hard, and, that's the whole thing. Yeah, you want the player there working with you every single day. Dak Prescott, great example. Dak Prescott's gone through some terrible, horrific injuries. His ankle, the hamstring, those things are tough injuries, and I'm getting the vibe that Dak Prescott, when they start OTAs and mini camps tomorrow, will be throwing the football for you. Yeah. No setbacks. Dak's going to be out there pitching it around.
Well, we see him all the time,
That's what I'm saying. We see him. And so there's a level of, John Stevens and Overshone and guys like that, we see those rehabs, and we've seen a lot of these guys with rehabs over the years. Britt Brown, they get the bad marks because, this trainer and that trainer, they don't have enough staff. Mm-hmm. That's the biggest thing. They've got a beautiful facility, beautiful training room, beautiful equipment to get players healthy, which they do. They just don't have the staff that other NFL teams have. And that's, I think players, when they do that survey at the, with the Athletic, they get low marks. It's not the trainers, and it's just the number of them that they lack. But I don't think Britt's too happy, but I don't want to put words in his mouth. I just think that Britt probably would rather, every one of those guys show up like Dak Prescott, and overshown. That's what he wants. He wants a guy that will attack his rehab like Dak attacked his, to the point where they had to get surgery again. They were going too hard, So I'll tell you, it's tough. Hey, they need Diggs. They need Diggs to play.
Yeah.
And after what you went through last year, it's hard to say that you want to go down that same path again. Now, maybe things are completely different, but I just get the vibe right now. The reason they won't have a timetable is, and they'll start them on PUP, is because they really don't know yet without working with him.
I mean, Dan, what about Revel and his timetable? We know anything about that?
Nothing new on that, though. Just excited that they've been working with the guy. But
is he a hard worker? Is he in the Britt Brown program?
There's nothing wrong with this guy when it comes to the work ethic and want to, I had several people tell me, and people know the history of Britt Brown in this league. Other teams say, I had a guy tell me the best thing that could have happened with Ravel is he went to that team, because that guy will get him right. That guy will get, and these are coaches that are guys that have gone on to other teams that know the history of how the Cowboys medical staff works. But I had 2 or 3 different coach friends tell me, like, hey, that kid's in really good hands. That. So I think all positive about that. But like I say, good for Dak. We see him out these OTA mini camps, him. And you're right. You and I have the opportunity when we walk to our broadcast position there at the SWBC Mortgage Studios, that we see them, as we're walking, we look to our right, because that's what our eyes naturally go to the football field. Sure. And he's out there working with Britt Brown, and we keep walking. And he's hopping around pretty good out there. So, just a quick analysis. Don't look like he's kind of laboring it all to me out there doing anything.
Yeah, man, Overshown was on the social medias. The Cowboys put out the
the schedule
release, and Overshown was like, "Oh yeah, by the Chiefs game for sure." I imagine with Diggs, it's just a matter of when.
Yeah.
You probably think about the same time with him. I mean, he's going to start off on PUP. Honestly, Brian, I think that's an interesting point, because if he's a PUP guy, that means he's not going to be like an IR guy.
No, but I think the PUP to start out with, that's 6 weeks. 6 weeks right off the jump. If I'm right about that. I don't know if they've loosened that, or was it 4 weeks? I don't know. They might have changed the dumb rules on me. Yeah. I shouldn't call them dumb rules, but they might have changed. I know that they changed the IR. They changed the IR rules, but I think if you start on PUP to start the season, that's 6 weeks. Yeah, is what that is. So that would give you maybe a timetable where you could start thinking about it. And
then all those guys just kind of gonna just stack and stagger, in or whatever. Like, all right, we get Rebel first, then we get Diggs, then Brian, I was so tapped out on the season last. I don't even remember when Diggs got hurt. Like, we just woke up one day and we're like, all right, Voch, Diggs is not available. So I don't even remember what game it happened. But Brian Broaddus, what do you think? Because we keep hearing the name for a reason, and I didn't think of this player as like some star guy. I thought he was a journeyman that's playing kind of cool now, but it seems like the team is excited of his progress. But this Josh Butler character, you imagine if Josh Butler's knee, like if his knees aren't hurting at some point later in the season, and he's going to be a part of the equation.
Yeah. Okay. Hang on. Here we go. It wasn't a game. I did this real quick. I did hit the chat GPT while you asked me a question. I'll get to the Butler. I was listening to what you're saying. Diggs got hurt. He tore his ACL in his left knee during practice on September 21st. And then, that was that. Okay. I'm getting the whole story about him. Then in 2024, he returned to play, participated in 11 games. However, he experienced cartilage issue in the same knee, leading to another season-ending injury in December of 2024. So he played in 11 games for you before his He had the cartilage issues in his knee.
Cartilage really like puts you out like that? I didn't think.
Painful deal. Yeah.
Okay.
Painful.
But this Butler character.
Butler. Yeah. I mean, to me, it's always one of those ones that looked like that there was they kept throwing guys out there, right?
Yeah.
And he was the one that kind of showed up, when everybody else was kind of had their games of struggling or had a game or two where they couldn't, or they didn't look ready. He looked ready to go. He looked prepared, and then he got hurt, and you're like, damn, well, that position must be really, in a bad spot. But he was the one guy. I mean, we all know, Cowboy fans know this. They threw a lot of bodies at that thing.
Yeah.
And like the most disappointing one to me, and you mentioned with Butler, I was sad to see him because he was super competitive, didn't look too big. Job didn't look too big for him. Job looked big for Carson, though.
Yeah.
Carson, the job looked big.
Yeah. Carson's going to have to be a part of this equation, though, right?
Yeah.
And look, part two with this, Brian. Why do you think the Cowboys made it a priority to re-sign Israel Mukuamu? Because maybe we have so much turbulence at corner that maybe they just know him and they're just all right. Well, we know who you are, so just come on around.
Different regime,
Because in my mind, I thought it'd be easy to just kind of let him walk and move on.
I think this is a Will McClay selling to Matt Eberflus. I think this is Will McClay saying, listen, there's been some snaps where this kid has played at a high level for us and the fact that he has some flexibility. Can you play him in the slot? Can you play him at safety? Can you play him on the outside? I hate the flexibility thing. You and I have gone through this a million times, so you don't need to hear me do that again. I think that Will McClay, when Matt Eberflus and those coaches sat down to watch the tape, that they saw a guy with some length. They saw a guy with some man coverage ability, some zone stuff that he was able to play, and then the fact that he could play in the slot. I don't know if he wanted playing in the slot a whole hell of a lot, but I think I think this is probably, I would guess, Will McClay, pro personnel department, selling this to Matt Eberflus.
You think some kind of breakthrough gonna happen with this Bryan Broaddus? I feel like we just throwing. I think we just shooting the dice now, man. I mean, it's I was just always amongst the opinion that we just try these guys out, and if they don't hold up, we just move on. Israel had a playoff game versus Chris Godwin, and he was an effective big nickel kind of guy, but that was 2 administrations ago. I don't even think Zimmer had a plan for him.
Nope, I don't think so either.
So I don't know, man. Nickel outside and safety. I guess that's
maybe you're in a situation because how bad the corner with the injuries or the unknown. I think that's clearly something that we need to kind of think about. That they're looking at this and saying, well, damn, he's played a lot of snaps for us in the past. He's been healthy. They got the physical traits that we like. I think you just couldn't get rid of corners is what I think that was all about. Especially veteran corners.
Yeah. Bryan Broaddus, prior to us doing this show, I was doing another show with my homeboy Henny. Shouts out to Henny. Hen dog. And I was he asked me about re-signing some cats and all this kind of stuff. Brian, I think we are preparing ourselves to get a 3rd round comp pick for Bland. Because I think this is going to be one his last campaign with us.
Okay.
Deron Bland.
Yeah.
And I think he's gonna play fine. I think he's gonna have a really good season or whatever. But I just think out of the guys that are gonna be owed money, I think Bland's probably gonna be like last on that list. Like Tyler Smith, Brandon Graham. I say George Pickens. You know what I mean? I just think it's gonna be a lot of guys that's gonna be in the way. Bryan, do you think that DaRon Bland can have such a good year that it'll change my mind?
Yeah. My absolute hope, I think the hardest one for them to do is going to be, this is just me. I might be dead wrong about this. I think the hardest one for them it's going to be for them to do is this Pickens one. And if somehow, some way you can get Parsons done, maybe get Bland done, and save that franchise tag for Pickens just in case for 1 year, one more year, maybe it buys you more an opportunity to negotiate. Man, a lot of this, I thought last year at this time, Voch, when they drafted Carson, my thought was that they were going to play Carson in the slot and they were going to let Lewis walk. Yeah. They let Lewis walk anyway, but Lewis was one of your best players.
Corners, one of your best corners, yeah.
Yeah, one of your best corners. So my hope is that they can get Bland done, get Parsons done, and keep that franchise tag open in case they need it. Is Smith up after next year? He's got a 5th-year option coming up, right?
I think that's his 5th year. Yeah, like that's his 5th one.
Not this year, but next year.
Okay,
right?
So that's next year. Okay.
Yeah. I think this is his 4th season, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. Am I right about that?
I believe so. Something like that. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. So anyway, that's kind of where I think this is. I think you need to keep that franchise tag open if you can.
For Pickens.
And if Pickens balls out and you think you want to keep and you're like, you need some way to protect yourself, because I think you could get Parsons done. Yeah. I think you could get Parsons done. Mm-hmm. And I think if you don't completely lowball Bland, you could get him done. Bland seems like a guy to me, 5th-round pick, that, hey, listen, coming off an injury, played better. Maybe he's not as maybe he's thinking more instead of this, he's thinking more of this, and trying.
Since he's not like Sauce Gardner or something, maybe you can get him.
Yeah, the problem is he sees Diggs.
Yeah.
He's thinking, well, damn, they paid Diggs. Yeah. Diggs hadn't played 75% of the snaps the last 2 years, I think.
Sure.
Well, week 11, maybe that's more, but anyway, it's, that's kind of where you're at. Yeah. I'd like to believe that I'd hate for them. I'd hate for Pickens to have a great year and they couldn't do anything with it. Yeah. If all of a sudden Dak is, and we were talking about this, and I know it's kind of a bouncing around thing.
Sure.
But somebody asked me, I was on my radio show today on 105.3 The Fan.
Right.
And the question came up because it seems like there's a bromance between Pickens and Lamb showing up, right? Yeah. And everybody's going, well, boy, that sounds great. Sounds great. I go, that sounds great until Dallas loses a game and one of them doesn't do anything to help them maybe win. Then it's going to be, well, talk to Shoddy. I don't know. Well, hey, why do you think? Talk to Shoddy. Shoddy will tell you, Then it becomes, God bless him, Clarence Hill starts asking questions. Oh, well, look, obviously there's a problem here. Yeah, that kind of thing we get into.
Yeah.
It's fine until you start playing games. It's fine until you have 2 of the most competitive guys on your team, and maybe one of them is getting more of the passes, the other isn't, and then there's a loss. If both of them are part of it and it's a loss, that's one thing. Winning is always say the great deodorant. Mm-hmm. And if CD's not getting the ball, but they're winning, we never hear from CD. Sure. The minute they start losing and don't get the ball, then you're going to get that conversation. Sure. And I think this Pickens and Lamb thing is great to talk about, 2-1, 2 1s. I agree. 2 1s. Got it. 2 1s. Got it. but wait till a loss happens and one of them doesn't get it. And then, then it turns into, you're talking to the wrong guy, man. And then now it's Monday morning on Get Up or Shut Up or whatever that show is.
Yeah.
And it turns into, do the Cowboys have a problem at wide receiver? Here we go. Yeah.
Okay. So well, that's why I think,
I know it's wide receiver talk, but I was just saying
No, you ain't wrong because it kind of applies like with the whole Bland Diggs relationship.
That's what I'm saying. That Bland's looking at Diggs like okay, I think I know you're a second round pick. You're only I'm a fifth round pick.
Yeah,
I've done this. You've made this. I've done that. There's to be honest with you, Bland has no reason to walk into work and think that he's less of a player than Diggs.
DK Metcalf's the only reason, but besides that, you're right. Yeah. Besides that, you ain't wrong. So it's looking like Kyer Elam, Kalen Carson, and Deron Bland. Would it benefit the Cowboys to go find some outside help?
I wonder if Gilmore's in play here. I wonder if Gilmore's in play when they get closer to camp.
Yeah. Because maybe Gilmore doesn't want to do
what we need to pay attention to at the OTAs and the mini camps are where not so much. I don't think there's going to be a lot of this competition stuff. Tell me where guys are lining up.
Sure,
that will tell me maybe what they're thinking about going into training camp.
If they line Bland up in the slot, then that means they have an idea that somebody's going to be playing outside.
They might not show us that at all. You know what I'm saying? They might just show us base. This is what we look like. And then we like they have 3 days and then we only get to watch one practice a week, that kind of thing. The other 2 days, they could be scheming their ass up, and then the one practice we get to watch, oh, they look pretty vanilla in base here, but keep an eye. Maybe it'll tell you where they think rookies are too, with, like you said, if they have a split practice and our guy Booker's over there with the threes,
yeah,
I could see Voch Lombardi losing his damn mind.
Well, Bryan,
we've been through that. We've been through that whole letting guys, we're going to get more reps over. That's such BS.
Yeah.
Put if this kid is your starting right guard, play him as the starting right guard. Don't think they're like, oh, we got to make him earn. No, you drafted him 12th overall. Get him ready. Get him work with Steele. Get him work with BB. If there are mistakes along the way, figure it out. But don't sit there and make this big. Well, he's got to earn. That is such crap. Like Blue needs all. I mean, the running back situation.
Yeah.
Blue needs to be out there. Ezra Raku, they've got it's a little bit different with the edges.
Yeah.
But my gosh, Ezra Rocco's getting like every rep, every other rep, he's getting it. I'm not sitting there messing around. I'm getting these guys ready to play. I'm not going to sit there like keep saying that, but like Mike McCarthy and we're going to have them on field. They're getting more work. No, they're not. They're getting work against guys that aren't going to be on the team. Get them work against guys that are going to be starting for you on week 1. That's how you get these young guys ready to play. And don't make it hey, don't try and worry about people's feelings now. This is about, hey, you're one of our better players. You need to be playing, period.
When they have practice, I'm invited, right? Since I'm media now, I can just go to. You go.
Absolutely.
You go.
See, it's a problem because with the one thing in McCarthy would practice early, so I could go and then I could go to my radio show. But the way that Shoddy practices, he practices at 12:50, and I can't watch him practice. But
if you ain't going, I ain't going, Bryan. You ain't going.
No, you can go. Oh. You can absolutely go. Absolutely, you can go.
We'll talk about it. We'll see. We'll figure
bro. If you don't go, I'd be disappointed in you.
Well, I can't have you disappointed in me, Bryan Broaddus. So now I gotta go.
I know that's scary to think that Bryan Broaddus is disappointed.
I gotta go, Bryan. Oh shit, I gotta go now.
I hate you sometimes with the stuff you do. No, man, you need to go. Seriously. Exactly. I know where that picture's going to hang. I got a spot for that picture, by the way.
You damn straight you do. We gonna figure it out.
I know.
Appreciate you, Brian. Glad your internet held up today, man. You was doing all right, man. You're doing all right. We're gonna do this again tomorrow, Brian. We're gonna find something to talk about. And we'll talk about it. It's, linebacker or something. We'll figure
we got Aisha Morrison on tomorrow.
I apologize. We have two Aisha Morrison on. So we're gonna talk about George Pickens some more and the draft class. And then on Wednesday, we're gonna get back to linebacker or running back.
This show ain't stopping, man. This show ain't gonna stop. Yeah.
Hey, man. Yeah, we gonna get it in, y'all. Hey, yo, chat. We love y'all to pieces, man. Thank y'all so much for tapping in with us, man. Keep coming by. The internet's good. We good to go.
Tell your friends, subscribe. Yeah, please.
I'm trying to get to 100,000. So if y'all ain't doing nothing else, please hit the button.
Come on, man. Help him.
VOCHLOMBARD. Brian's the YouTuber now, so he's saying hit the subscribe and like button. That's crazy. And y'all follow him at BRYAN Broaddus. Brian, somebody asked me the other day, well, Voch, have you announced the announcement yet? Nope.
Yeah.
But soon.
No, I tell you what, I am please just bear with me. I've got a meeting tomorrow, but there's an announcement coming very, 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 very soon. Just trust me. I didn't realize it was this hard to do what I'm trying to do.
Some hard shit, ain't it?
It's hard shit. It is. But I'll tell you what, I think people are gonna be happy when we make that announcement.
Well, I hope so, Brian.
Yeah, I just want them to tell me I can make that announcement. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm waiting.
Until then, we love y'all to pieces, and we'll catch y'all next time. All right?
Yeah, crown.